And here we are, Saturday morning cereal. Hey everybody!
Hooray!
Hooray! We finally made it again to another episode. Here it is, Saturday morning cereal, and this is going to be episode number 13.
Oh, it is?
It is episode 13.
Lucky number 13.
Yes, and that's going to mark our season finale. So this is going to be our final
finale.
I know it's the last one this season that we're going to do, and that's because we have probably gone 3 months now, and we're going to be getting into convention season, trying to get ready for the shows and things, and we're going to need to kind of focus on that. And we're coming to the end of our Kickstarter project finally. So so we've got a bunch of stuff to show you guys about the Kickstarter project, and so I want to kind of get into that. Before we do, yesterday we had our super cool Space Cat promo.
Meow, meow, meow. Beep, boop, beep, boop.
Beep, boop. Right. We went to see Lightyear yesterday, and that's got an adorable
That's awesome.
cat.
I love Socks.
Socks is awesome. He's a great cat. I mean, if you like the cat in Captain Marvel, then this one's even better.
You like Goose? You're gonna like Socks.
You're gonna like Socks. So, we did a double feature run yesterday. So we went to see the Top Gun movie. We went to the Top Gun thing. Maverick.
That was really cool.
Maverick was really awesome. Enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah,
a lot of callbacks to the first movie and everything. And then there was
Kind of had a neat story.
yeah, the story, and Miles Tevis, the guy that plays Goose's son, Rooster.
Yeah.
In it. Yeah, the casting on that was great because he kind of looks a little bit like Anthony Edwards.
When
with the
they're in
mustache.
the bar and he's wearing that Hawaiian shirt or whatever, it's
Right.
like, man, it's like, holy cow, that's pretty amazing.
Right. And they do some singing in the bar, which is like, okay.
Yeah.
And then they had, instead of a volleyball scene, they had the football thing. And what's really kind of cool is, Vicky and I were talking about this yesterday, is that when they incorporated those callbacks to the other movie, they tied it into the storyline, except for the Jennifer Connelly love interest. So
yeah, it was kind of, there was one in the first movie, and we're doing it with this. And it's like, and I thought it would have been cooler since they didn't bring back the Charlie character,
Kelly McGillis,
character.
Right.
Then they should have had this character be Patty Benjamin.
Right.
Because that's the Admiral's daughter that, he did the flyby.
The flyover thing. And
And it's like, that kind of would have tied it into there and all that. But anyway, just my 2 cents.
It's worth seeing.
No big deal, but it's pretty cool. And the action, the flying is fantastic.
The flying sequences are awesome.
Yeah,
now,
it's pretty amazing.
Now my take on it is, knowing some film history and everything, and talking about the mission that they had in the thing, it's like, okay, it's the Death Star run, but before the Death Star run, there was Dam Busters and Mosquito Squadron. So if you guys, go to, I guess, the iTunes movies or something, or where you can stream stuff, or Amazon or whatever. I don't know if they've got some of these classic movies. I have them on iTunes because I think you can watch Dam Busters for free, like over on YouTube now.
Oh wow!
Because it's like from the 40s, and it's basically what they built the trench run sequence
from the Death
Star,
Star Wars,
off of those films. I mean, right down to dialogue and all this type of thing. And so when they're going over the mission brief and stuff in the new Maverick movie, I was like, oh, okay,
hey,
this
spoilers,
is
man.
I'm just saying, I'm not going to tell you what happens, but it was just like, hey, this is like these other movies.
Very reminiscent.
So it's like, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take Top Gun and Dam Busters and Mosquito Squadron
and blend them together
and put it in a blender, right? And then it's like, okay, well now you've got the new Maverick thing.
Yeah.
So
it was pretty cool.
But it was cool. I mean, it's like, it still works because it's like, they put Star Wars in a blender. It's Flash Gordon and World War II and all this stuff, and it still works. So it's like, it's still a good flick, and they have a lot of cool little, they've got the little emotional moments in the things and all this, and it's the character stuff. So it's fun. I thought they did a really good job of it. And Hans Zimmer, doing music and stuff on it. So
yeah,
that's
you can't
one of
go
my
wrong
favorites.
with that.
Right. And then we went to see, we took a lunch break, and then we went to see Lightyear, which was awesome. So,
I'll go see Lightyear.
Absolutely see that as probably the best Pixar thing ever, as far as I'm concerned.
It's pretty awesome.
And just the sci-fi design to it, and the way that it's rendered, it's rendered in a real cinematic way. And we watched that little documentary on Disney Plus, which is like, the Lightyear documentary. It's like the behind-the-scenes thing. You're like, hey, here's how we made a character.
Well, and it's kind of like they reverse engineered Buzz.
Yeah,
because it's
like,
well,
pretty
they
much.
made the toy, and
Right.
then they had to okay, well, who's this Buzz Lightyear that the toy is based on?
Right, and so like, well, here's the toy of him, and so like, if he was a real thing, what would he look like? Even though it's got that animated, stylized kind of look, because it's got the big eyes and he's got the big chin and everything's kind of cartoony and stuff. It's still not as cartoony and toyized as like the first Toy Story movie. But what's interesting about looking at it is like looking at the first Toy Story stuff in comparison to the Lightyear movie. The rendering style is very different. So there's very little shadow and lighting and texture and stuff on the stuff from like 1995's Toy Story. Like you look at it over 25 years ago. And then, you compare it to like what the Lightyear movie looks like as far as, the...
Pretty sophisticated.
It's come a light year
from
from how it was done.
To infinity and beyond.
Exactly. It's just gorgeous looking as far as like the details that they put into, texturing all the materials and like everything's weathered and it's worn looking and all this. And of course there's, Bubble helmet Space Rangers and everything. So,
yeah, can't go wrong with Bubble helmet Space Ranger.
Right. It's just it's all around awesome
and Space Cat.
And Space Cat.
You gotta have your trusty Space Cat.
Sox is pretty cool.
He is awesome.
And he's got some pretty cool little
he is full of surprises, let me tell you.
Yeah.
He's got all kinds of gadgets and stuff. That's pretty awesome.
Now, there's a couple of things in it that I thought would have been kind of cool. And I'm not going to give you any spoilers on it, but I thought that whoever did the voice for Sox did a great job. Because he's like a robot cat. And that's not a giveaway because that's in the trailer. If you watch the trailer, you know that Sox is a robot. But I thought it's like, well, Alan Tudyk has done like some robot stuff, and he's done some animation voices and everything. And so I thought it's like, well, that would have been kind of cool if he had done the voice for Sox. I think it would have kind of given it a little bit extra. I'm not saying he was bad. I'm just saying it's like, to me, I would have, like, if I was going to cast the movie, and I would be like,
well, you did.
I know. But if I were, then my pick would have been, that's like, let's get Alan Tudyk to do the voice for him. Okay, so that's my recommendation. Okay, but anyway, but then the other thing is that I thought it would have been kind of cool because they got Zurg in it, right? What is it in Toy Story? They refer to him
the evil Emperor Zurg.
Is he the evil emperor or the evil robot Zurg?
I thought he was the evil Emperor Zurg.
Okay, well, it's one of the
Space Rangers protect the galaxy from the evil Emperor Zurg.
Okay, so I didn't know if he was an emperor or if he was a robot, whatever. But anyway,
maybe I'm saying it wrong.
Right, but I thought it would have been pretty cool, and you'll understand this, when you see the movie. But it would have been cool, and it's kind of a callback to one of the things that they do in one of the other Toy Story movies, where it's like he meets him, like when Andy's playing with the toys, and they're showing, well, here's what he's seeing in his imagination, and they're playing and all this type of stuff. And it's a callback to that. But I thought it would have been cool if they had gotten Tim Allen to do the voice for Emperor Zurg, right? Because Chris Evans is the Lightyear, is his actual voice. So that would have been a cool, kind of a compliment, to the voice casting and stuff on that. But they got Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin did a great job as like the Zurg voice and everything, because he's Thanos and all that kind of thing. So it's it's keeping it in the Disney family.
Well, I don't know how much of a spoiler this is, and I don't want it to spoil anything. But to me, I thought it was really cool because there's a ship that Buzz is flying around in the movie, and it really I'm assuming they're paying homage because it's called the XL1, and
Right.
I'm like, oh, Fireball XL5,
Right.
you know, and well, and you see this on the trailer too. It even takes off on a ramp like the Fireball XL5 did.
Yeah, because in the Fireball XL5, man, you guys probably can't even hear me because it's like I haven't even set my microphone up. Okay, that's probably a lot better.
They're like, I heard nothing until
I heard
this
it.
part.
It's all like you're in an echo, like a room thing. Okay, so that's that. Hopefully, this is probably better for you now. Let's.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Well, yeah. So yeah, you didn't get any of that audio. No, actually, you did because it's like, well, you can still hear me on the mic, but
They probably couldn't hear me.
no, they can hear you because your mic is coming off of the webcam that you have overhead.
Oh, okay.
So yours is all set just fine.
Mine's okay. Okay.
Yeah, but but mine, see, it's on this boom arm, and like when I'm normally working, I just swing it out of the way so I can, I can. Let's see. Hey, Heather's in with us. She says she can hear both of us, so it's okay.
Hey,
okay.
Heather.
I'm glad you could drop in
Anybody
with us
else
this morning.
that's out there?
Hey. We're just chatting about movies and stuff so far, and then we'll get into the show here in just a second. But
yeah, that's probably like, can you move it along?
Yeah, I forget about it. And you know what's funny about that is like right before we started the intro on it, I was like, oh, I need to get my microphone down and put it down. And I didn't do it, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, so it's like, well, half the show, it's like we can't, but as long as you can hear a little bit of it, that's fine. So
as long as they can hear me, that's okay.
That's the important thing.
Yeah, that's
right. Oh gosh. So I was gonna. There was one other thing that I was gonna say about the Buzz Lightyear thing, but I can't remember what it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's cool flick.
Awesome. If you get the chance, go
watch
see
it. It's and that's what that's another thing I told Vicky too. At the end of the movie was like, man, I'm glad we have Disney Plus because when they put that on there, it's like I'm gonna be watching the hell out of that movie again.
Yeah.
So,
it's like, oh.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and coming from, as a pulp sci-fi fan, particularly like, we put out Counterblast, we put all the pulp sci-fi models and stuff. That's kind of my thing. It's like I really dig that, and so to see that, they've done such a really good job of design work and incorporating all of that stuff, into the movie. It's amazing, so a lot of inspiration for me. So be looking for bubble helmeted GDF models, at some point. So
some new bubble helmet GDF.
Be working on those pretty soon.
Should be coming up.
Yeah. So as we jump into stuff here, I kind of wanted to tell you guys that we've still got our cool summer specials going on. So and it's kind of funny because it's like, Vicky named these cool summer specials, and it's got blue and all that, which is completely the opposite of that here, because I think it's going to be 101 Fahrenheit all next week. So it's like
we're
every
at triple digits for like the next week.
Right, every day is over 100 degrees. So it's it's going to be kind of rough the next week. So we're going to try to stay in and stay cool. But anyway, so she put these cool summer specials together, and let's see, what do you get? You buy 2 babes, you get 1 free. You buy 2 sidekicks, you get 1 free. You buy 2 chibis, you get 1 free. And you buy 2 Critterkins, and you get 1 free. So that's a bunch of free minis if you get, any of that stuff. And then, we've also got what?
Yeah, and then you also, if your order exceeds $25, you get another free sidekick that you can either tell us what you want in the comments, or I'll choose it at random, and I try to look at what you ordered and kind of base it on that, as best I can. If you leave it to me. And if you exceed $50, you also get to choose an additional free babe. So, I think there's like 20 to choose from.
So there's like 20 different babes,
and there's 10 different sidekicks you can choose from on those. So
right.
That's a lot of free stuff.
Yep, and if you go to the web store, there's pictures, there's a banner and stuff on the web store.
Check the banners.
Mm-hmm. So, so we got that running, and then next month we're going to be kind of updating the format of the web store a little bit. With like, I'm going to kind of reorganize the menus and things so that it's a little bit easier to navigate, not only on the desktop but also on mobile. So that if you're trying to find something, you're looking for categories, because we're just about to start adding all of the stuff
from the
Scout Ship Kickstarter into the
that's
into the
be
web
a
store.
lot of stuff.
Right.
Yep.
So Heather was saying that it was 90 to 100 degrees or whatever.
Wow. Oh man, today it's 60 where you are? That's awesome. Oh.
Nice.
I would love that.
Well, it kind of clouded up a little bit in the evening last.
Yeah, there was thunder.
We were sitting out here. Yeah, they had a streaming thing over for the Savage Worlds things that we were checking out. And so we were sitting here, and as that was wrapping up, you could hear this thunder, like, it was like, holy cow, we need to go up to the house.
Yeah.
So, so that was kind of weird, but it didn't rain. We didn't get any rain, but it threatened to. I mean, there was like heavy clouds and stuff, so yeah.
I wish it had done more than just threaten.
Yeah, it's getting pretty dry out there, and your little tomatoes are starting to...
Yeah, I have to go out and water my tomato and okra plants every morning, so...
Yeah.
Try to keep them alive.
So, let's see. Scout Ship. Okay, so the Scout Ship project we're kind of on the... is it the last leg of it? It's almost the last leg.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about we're going to do this one batch, and then we got one more batch after that.
Right, and we'll look at the we'll look at the schedule board here in just a second. But the main thing that we were trying to get wrapped up this last week was the remaining items on the War Rocket kit. And so what we had done the previous week was get the molds and the parts done for the hull sections. And if you look at the back end of the ship, there's there's like a row of windows where the passenger hull module is. And you can see the little modules that are kind of broken down under those exploded views under the actual rocket kit. And the passenger hull module was one of the unlocked stretch goals that we had on the Kickstarter project just for the regular Scout Ship. So you could add that on, and you get all the stuff that you see in the picture there. You get the hull pieces, the cargo bay doors at the bottom that open out, the ladder, all the little rows of seats, and then the windows and things. So that when I was looking at the one from the movie that this is inspired by, I kind of took that as like, okay, well, there'd be like a row of, there's portholes or whatever on the side of it. So that, you can put since it's a modular ship design, it's like, well, you could put that in there, and it's like, well, I already had that made. But the back end section, it's like, well, I had the balcony, and I used the turret part on the top, from the weapon hull module. So that's like a separate panel that fits onto the back. Okay, so we already had that molded. So basically this was just like, we were trying to wrap up the molds and the parts and everything for the stuff that were unique to the War Rocket kit itself. Okay. So we got down to this part. This is what's left on the project. Okay. So we've kind of broke it out into like two batches of 24 kits, 12 kits, two batches of 12 kits, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like in this batch, we've already finished up casting all of the stuff for the 12 core ship kits. And those, Vicky's got some fins and some hull pieces to box up. And then those kits will be finished. All of the little the unlocked stretch goals that go with the kits have been finished. And so now we're down to casting. So the numbers that are over on the left is like for this is all the stuff that's going to go out with this batch of 12 core ship kits. Okay, so if you back the Kickstarter project and you got the core ship kit, you get the kit, you get 5 little bundles of little stretch goal things that go along with it. There's extra fins and the sensor package with the dishes and all the stuff that can attach to it and all that. Okay, so you get that. And then you could pick, whatever add-ons you wanted. So these are the add-on items that we need to cast to go with those core ship kits. So we've got 9 war rocket kits that are going to go with that. 3 hull extension modules, 4 passenger modules. Right. So I got to cast. So the numbers on the left, that's the stuff that I got to cast for this batch of 12 kits to go out. That's what I got to run. And then the number to the right of that is what's left. So when we cast after that. So out of all of the orders that we've received so far for the rewards packages, this is the remaining amount of stuff. So I just finished up this little batch of Alante drives and tail gun sections. So now the next batch that I'll run of those, I'll have to run 6 of them to go with the next set of 12 kits. So anyway, so we've still got quite a bit of casting left to do on that, but all of the parts are done and all of the molds are made, and that's the exciting part. So when I was saying, hey, there's a light at the end of the tunnel and it's not a train, this was what I was talking about. It's got all those pieces done. So here are production castings of the stuff that we got done this week for those unique parts of the War Rocket kit. Okay, so you got the front end, the front hull section, and the upper and lower pieces. We've got that afterburner section and the tail piece that goes on the back end of the ship, the middle deck that goes in the part of the bridge, the cockpit, the wings and the upper fin, and all of that stuff's done. And I also got the clear windows that go in the cockpit. So those have all been cast. They all came out fine. So all I've got to do is, when you look back at the board on this, I've got 9 of those batches of stuff to run in addition to the other parts that are going to go in that kit. So that's what I'll be working through this next week and on. And so that's why this is going to be kind of our final update on that, because really all I'm going to have to tell you, moving forward is like, hey, I cast a bunch of stuff this week, because this is a priority to get all of these things out to our Kickstarter backers and everything before we really kind of go on and start working on, the other stuff that we need to do for new releases and things. So I kind of want to, it's already been like, 18 months, like a year and a half now?
It's been a year.
Because we ran...
a year and a few months, because we're like, I think we're going to end up being like a year behind the estimate. Right.
Yeah. So, and, due to, all the stuff that you've heard about, due to COVID, due to, supply chain shortages and back herniation, and all that type of stuff that went along with it. Yeah. So, and you can look back through the other episodes and we've talked about that before. So anyway, so here's kind of the front end. You get kind of a close up of the War Rocket. I was kind of hoping Dave was going to jump into the chat this morning and kind of talk about that, because I know he's been wanting to see pictures of this. So if he's not in, he'll have to check it out on YouTube.
This is Father's Day weekend, so a lot of people may be busy with family and stuff.
I completely forgot about that. And as a person who is not a father, and mine has already passed on, so I don't really.
You're a fur baby father.
But that's right, yeah. But I didn't get a card or a tie or anything from the cats, so I mean, I'm not really counting that as like a. That's like a win. But we did go out and have, movie day yesterday, so that's a nice thing. But anyway, so there's the deck where you can put the console and stuff in there for the bridge of the ship. And then, so all of those items are, removable, like once you get everything assembled. And you can put your little miniatures in there, and the deck's got that 1-inch deck grid on it, so it kind of makes it easy to, if you're using this as scenery for playing a game like Starfinder or something like that, where you use like a 1-inch thing for combat, you can put your miniatures in there. So that's where we've gotten to on that. Okay, so what's coming out next? All right, so Vicky and I were talking about like what's the things that are the most ready to go into the web store next from the Kickstarter project are the Ghent bots. And
the Ghent bots, the Ghent utility bots. Those are new. And
there's one set of arms for the Ghent utility bots that I still need to put together.
Yeah. But we're gonna put the Ghent utility bots, and then we're gonna do resin versions, and they're gonna be a set now.
Right.
Of the what had been the Firebot, the M2 bot, and the security bot. So they're all going to be in a pack together and in resin now instead of metal, and they'll be the first responder bots.
Right, right. So the Gint bots are going to be split up into 2 sets. So you get the utility bots, which is going to have the mechanical arms, and then the little regular arms, and it's going to be all 3 of the chassis that we have here. And, they'll have like utility arms and stuff. And then the fire set, and then you've got the ones with the pulsar rifles on it, and the surgical arms. That's going to be in the first responder set. Right.
And then we're going to have two Thunder bikes. We're going to have the what is it? The A52 or M52? Whatever.
It's the M52 Thunder bike.
And there'll be that one that has one gun.
Right.
Mounting point, and then there'll be
the attack bike,
which
and it's
got weapon mounts on the wing set that you get with that bike.
Right. So there's just going to be 2 different bikes. So you get the one. Now the regular M52 bike has 2 different sets of wings.
So you can choose.
Right, but the angled wings that they have don't have weapon mounts on the bottom of them. But the attack bike does have weapon mounts where you can glue on the different weapon types. So you'll get a little set of weapon sprues, and then you'll get the fins, for that, so that you can make it an attack version of it. So, and that way you can, pick your flavors on what you want to do on that.
And then the other thing is going to be the Mecha Strafer. We'll be able to release that.
Right. So these are things that we already have molds of. We've already cast a bunch of stuff for the Kickstarter project, and so they're ready to go. Basically, we just need to cast a few extra of them, and we're going to activate those. These are the things we're going to activate in the web store first, right?
Right.
Yeah. So those will be the first things that come out, and then we'll start adding in as we get finished shipping out the rewards packages. Then we'll start adding in some of those other items, like the little cargo sets. And some of the other cool scenery things.
The galley wreck set. And man, that's really fun.
It's cool. It's got like a little TV and a refrigerator and all that.
And it's all kind of retro style, and it's got like the old retro refrigerator kind of thing.
Right.
And those are fun.
Yeah, and I kind of want to paint up one of those little soda things, with like
the soda machine.
Right, with like
I forgot. Yeah, that's awesome.
So I'm sure you could. What's that? Nuka Cola. I'm sure that would be
Cosmic
something.
Cola.
And or Cosmic Cola. However you want to paint that stuff up. It'd be really kind of cool to do it in like different colors.
Yeah.
So So that's what we got going on that. So those are going to be our next releases on that. So. And then let's see. We'll probably talk about ReaperCon a little bit because
we'll have to look at what we're going to do for ReaperCon.
Yeah.
And what ribbons we're going to do and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I know we talked about that before, so we'll have to order those. And then we've got some. We talked about doing some new releases and stuff for the show. And if you guys are going to be painting stuff, and you're going to be entering it in the show, we're looking forward to seeing those projects and everything. I don't know. Are you still going to have time to paint anything? You may wind up taking Major Tom.
No, I'm going to try to paint something.
Okay.
I mean, it depends. Hopefully if we can get this project wrapped up, before mid-July, then I'm gonna try to paint something. It probably won't look that great, but I'm gonna try.
I'm sure it'll be awesome. It's like because Major Tom's coming out really cool. What I can see so far.
Major Tom. I need to finish him though. So he's almost done.
Well, the big project that I wanted to enter in the painting contest this year was like it was a big elaborate thing where I was gonna sculpt stuff.
That's out for this year.
And mold and cast all the parts and stuff, and then paint it. And it was motorized and I think there were LED lights and stuff in it that I was going to put in there. Yeah, and it was it's a super cool concept, and I thought it would be kind of fun. Now I already have, because it's going to have horses and stuff in it, and I already had that one sculpted from the Valkyrie.
That's another thing we need to put out, that Valkyrie on the Pegasus.
Right, yeah. And I was going to use that as a base for like the things that I was going to print out, for that. Yeah. So there's another thing that we need to get back into production, and here's the thing. I kind of wanted to tell you guys a little bit about that's one of the reasons why we're kind of behind on putting our new releases and stuff out, is because just the production on doing all of the casting and making the molds and and printing all the parts and everything for the Kickstarter project has created a serious bottleneck here, because it's just Vicky and I working on this project. And so, when I ran the Kickstarter campaign, when it was active, it's like I kind of oversold all that stuff, where it was like, hey, let's do this next stretch goal, and let's do this next stretch goal. And it kind of ballooned into this, larger project than I had really intended for it to be. Even though it's like, well, there's a bunch of cool stuff in there, it's still, well, I've got to make it, and I've got to make a lot of it, and it's just us making this stuff.
Yeah.
So
it took longer than you anticipated.
Yeah. It's one is just the logistics of the production itself, the time that it takes to print all the parts, because most of the stuff that I had on the Kickstarter project was sculpted. It's like, well, the digital files is like, well, I had renders of everything, but then it's like there's so much work left to do at the end of that you have to do, as far as like, well, I've got to engineer that stuff to make sure that all the things fit together, and then I got to do test prints and print them out, and then make sure all those printed parts fit together, and then go back and then put sprues and things on them, so that they're engineered for molding. And then you print those out and clean them, and there's a process that you go through where it's like, well, once those are printed, then you have to spray them to make sure that they're sealed, so that the silicone doesn't react with the 3D prints. And then you built all the mold boxes, so they've got to be boxed up, and then the molds have to be poured. And if there's any kind of thing, and we've had mold failures, I'm
trying to block all that out now.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's part of it, though, and it's like,
it takes time.
Right.
It just takes a lot of time.
And when you have setbacks on production and stuff, it's like, okay, well, now I've got to go back to whatever this next step was, and materials. And so even
to the end of it.
Well, and the last thing that I had run where we had a problem with that was the top fin for the War Rocket, where it's like, well, I put that mold in the large tank, and then when I came in and checked it in the morning, what had happened was that the bottom of the pressure tank is curved, because it's basically designed to put paint in it, so the paint would collect in the bottom so that it could be siphoned out. But so the mold box sat on the bottom of that, and there's a void under it, so that when the silicone sits there until it cures, it's wet, and so basically the cardstock softens, and so it separated.
It out.
Yeah, it separated, and then the silicone leaked out, and so it's like, okay, well, that's like $30 worth of material that it's gone. So you can't use it, and there's just like a big disc of the stuff in the bottom of the tank.
You have to redo it.
Right. So, in order to avoid that in the future, I went out and got a scrap piece of MDF and cut a big circle and put that in the bottom of the tank so that it's flat in there now. And it's like, well, that's a thing that I should have done when I set the tanks up originally, but I wasn't running those kind of molds in it. That's the first mold that I had that spanned the whole bottom of the tank like that. And I didn't think that it was going to, split the bottom of the mold open. It's like, so those are the type of things that, experience and trial and error, to get you. Yeah. So I cut that and put the MDF in the bottom of the tank, and it's flat in there, so that when I put those big molds in it for the front end of the ship and set those in there, those came out fine. There was no problem with them splitting at the bottom and no leaks or anything. So it cleared that up. But that's a thing that you learn. It's it's a setback, but so you wind up going on. So we had a few of those along the way, but I mean we solved those problems. I solved the printing problem that we had with getting the front end of the ship to stick to the build plate.
Oh yeah, we had to do that 4 times
Yeah.
before that came out right.
Well, and I wasn't really running full runs on that because I was able to watch
Right.
like it would print so much of it, and then by the time that the build plate raised up out of the
It's
vat,
like, yeah, that's not working.
it's like that's dead. Yeah, no, it's hadn't stuck again. So so I went in and it had basically one skate on it that all the supports hung off of, and so I just went back and deleted that, so it had like a bunch of little tiny skates that held the supports and everything, and that worked better. So it's like, well, you do that a few times, and it's like, well, let me try this, let me try that, and then, oh, okay. So now whenever I print big parts like that, I'll go in and make little tiny skates on all the supports. So because I know that's going to work better for those kind of parts. But anyway, so running through the project, we've kind of identified the the bottleneck, and when we were having metal stuff cast from Valiant before, it was great because it's like, well, I could do a sculpt, I could send that off to them, and they would do the production on it. They'd send me here's a test casting, this is what it's going to look like, you approve it, and then they run and they do the run on them. So we're actually looking at going back to that model, but in this instance, it's like, well, I've still got the parts that I need to send out to Nick over at Metal Oak Casting, because he's got the CO cast machine and had contacted me about that, and we had a Rizarl and he's ready to go. I just got to finish cleaning all of those prints to send out to him, and the reason that those aren't finished is because I've been doing the production on the War Rocket parts. But since we're getting caught up on that, we can try to get caught up on some of these other things, and hopefully in the third quarter, which will be in July, some of the new things that I've been working on that you guys have seen in the previous episodes, we'll be able to start putting those in the web store. So we've got some new Nirin that we were working on. We've got Urzarl coming. We've got Unagi that I still need to sculpt, and
You've got Destroys Nulls.
I've got Destroys Nulls, and I've got some more tentacles to put on him. But I mean, I've got it worked out. So it's like, well, all I got to do is just go and make those other tentacles, and it's like, okay, well, he's ready to go. So there's a lot of stuff that we've got in the pipeline that if I can just print those out and send them out to have Nick do the production and stuff on them, we can start putting out new releases again.
Well, and we got those cheapies that Heriberto and Chad did.
That's what I was going to say next. It's like, well, we've got those too. So and here's an interesting thing too that I ran across, speaking of chibis. Okay, apparently over on my mini factory, Elizabeth Beckley Bradford is painting. She's doing a little paint series on chibi eyes, painting chibi eyes or something. Yeah, and so I think in one of the videos she's using one of our chibis. But I haven't gone over to Miniature because we subscribe to Miniature Monthly, and we sponsor them because we send them stuff that's like, hey, we come out with this here, if you want to paint one. So apparently she's picked one of them to paint. But I haven't watched the video yet. But if you have a chance to hop over to Patreon and you're looking for some painting tips, go ahead and check that out, because Aaron Lovejoy's on there, and Matt DiPietro and Elizabeth. They're all super great painters, and they're great folks, and we love them. They're awesome. Mm-hmm. And so, support their thing, because they've got some great... I've watched through a bunch of Aaron's videos and things. Even though I don't get to paint anymore, it's still, I want to have that. Hey, I didn't think of that. I didn't think about doing it that way. So there's some great ideas of things. And it's like I just put that in my toolbox for later if I can get back to it. So so they've got some great painting courses and stuff over there, and check those out. But yeah, I want to take a look at her chibi painting to see which chibi she was using, for that.
And I'd like to see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I may load that up here after the show, and we'll check it out.
Okay.
So, but I guess we're rolling along. Was there anything that you wanted to add? I think because that's all I had that I wanted to go over as far as like the production on the Kickstarter project and everything.
Yeah.
So.
I can't think of anything.
Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't miss something that was like, oh, hey, you should have told them about that. So.
No, I can't think of anything. So.
Okay, well, I guess this is going to be a little bit shorter episode than usual, but wanted to let you guys know what we've got coming up. Since we're going to take a little break, we're going to do our convention season and everything. Then we'll come back. I don't know if we'll come back in the fall or if it'll be in the spring again, where we'll start doing Saturday morning serial episodes again. But I also wanted to add in, I didn't get a chance to do it this time because of, all the stuff that's going on. But we wanted to start doing, on the workbench, where we're doing hobby stuff and, doing a little evening show and that kind of thing. That's still on the slate. We didn't get to that this season, but hopefully we'll be able to. And maybe we'll do that in between seasons. Maybe it'll just switch to doing the evening show, and then we'll go back to doing mornings or whatever. So we'll kind of see how that works out and kind of play that by ear. But between now and then, I'm looking forward to seeing your hobby stuff online. Be sure and pop on over to our Facebook groups and stuff and post either over in the Bombshell group if you got general stuff, chibis, critterkins, stuff that you painted, sidekicks and things, or other projects that you're working on, or if you've got something that's specific to Counterblast, post your pulp sci-fi stuff over there. We'd love to see the projects that you're working on, and see the painting that you're doing and all that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yep. And then bring it to ReaperCon and put it in a contest there. So.
And come by and see us at ReaperCon.
Yeah, we'd love to hang out with you guys.
Come by and say hi.
And talk to us. So we're really looking forward to that. Now that the pandemic thing is starting to kind of roll off, and people are able to get out and do stuff again, and everybody's vaccinated and vaxified or whatever, and all that. We're all vaxxed up, so we've been able to dodge the the pandemic stuff and keep healthy as much as we can. So we're looking forward to seeing you guys at the shows, and we'll keep you posted online, and we'll keep you updated on what's going on our Facebook pages, on social media, and on the our mailing list. So if you're not on the mailing list, there's little offers that we have. Everyone. We ran a couple of coupon codes. We may do a couple of more coupon codes at some point where you get those and you can get bonus stuff over in the web store. But sign up for the mailing list, and that's going to be the best way to keep up with what our new releases are and the new projects and stuff that we're working on, as we get those ready to release. So I guess we're gonna wrap up this episode if there's not anything else, and I want to thank Heather for joining us.
Yeah,
thanks for chatting, and it's always good to see you, and we like having you guys in the chat. When we return to our Saturday morning serial and any of the other future streaming stuff, we're going to be moving off of the Twitch channel, off of the Twitch platform, and over directly onto YouTube. So we'll be moving to doing our live streaming and stuff on our YouTube channel just directly, since that's where they're all going to live anyway. So cool. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you at ReaperCon too, Heather. So and be sure and wrap up your super cool Niran painting and so forth, and your the Kai project that you're working on.
Kai,
right.
Kai.
So really looking forward to seeing how she turns out.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can get some pictures and stuff to post of those too, after the show.
And happy Father's Day to all the fathers and fur baby fathers.
Yeah, all the fur babies. Happy fur for Father's Day, whatever.
Yeah, and happy Father's Day.
Yeah, and that too, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. Well, we're going to sign off, and thanks for sitting in with us, and we will see you guys next on Saturday Morning Cereal again when we come back next season.
Meow, meow, meow. Beep, boop, beep, boop.
Beep, boop, beep, boop.